Hi there, Nate Urandi, Orion Training Systems. Happy Sunday. Hope you're having a great day. We're getting some snow here in Colorado after yesterday at peaking at about 50 degrees. Had a great ride, but looking out the windows, it's coming down hard. That's the way it is here. You got to take advantage of the good weather when you can. In any case, this thing with Chris Froome just seems to not be going away, and I don't just mean from a decision-making perspective. I mean, people keep wanting to unravel it. They want to dissect it. There's a lot of perspectives and questions, and probably questions that prompt even more questions than they do answers. And so I'm just going to highlight a few of them that I keep getting asked, because I'm assuming that these are ones that people out in the world who care about cycling or who are following this are probably asking as well. And I'm not saying I'm going to provide the answers. I'm just going to try and provide some perspective. So if Froome is a lifelong asthma sufferer, I think I've got 4 to 5 here. So if he's a lifelong asthma sufferer, where's the documentation of this during his well-publicized lab test with Jerome Swart? In other words, why wasn't that part of the write-up? Oh, he took X amount of puffs before the test, during the test, whatever. Because if you're worried about how asthma is going to impact your high-level output, if you're doing something like a lab test, which is all about high-level output, this would probably be part of the write-up. But as far as I know, it's never been brought up, never been mentioned. 2, a lot of asthma sufferers that are coming to Froome's defense are saying lay off because an attack can be life-threatening, and therefore he needs the inhaler just to get back to functioning normally. Now that may be very well and true. I'm not an asthma sufferer, so I don't know how that constriction feels in the chest. I can assume it's very panicky, and in some cases, in terms of a very massive attack, it could be life-threatening for sure. I'm not discounting that. But what you got to key in on is functioning normally. So what I'm getting at is, if these people are saying, and the ones who go into an explanation seem to point to, when they get attacked, when they have an asthma attack, they take the puffs of the inhaler so that they can open up their airways and just get a sense of relief. They're not back to fully functional performance right like that. They're sitting on the curb, head between their knees, gasping as this inhaler takes effect. So to believe that Froome is being hit by an attack mid-stage, takes the puffs of the inhaler and is magically just right on track and never skips a beat is laughable. So that takes us to the next one. TUEs are not preventative measures, nor is the use of the medicine that they then allow the athlete to consume or be prescribed and therefore use preventative. So just because Froome has a TUE for inhaler does not mean he should be using it willy-nilly. And it's interesting because despite us seeing him for the first time use an inhaler in 2014, he has and then after that saying, oh, I don't want to send the wrong message, so I'm not going to use my inhaler during races. It's funny that his nickname within the peloton is Puff the Magic Dragon. So is he not using the inhaler, or are we to believe that he's using it all the time due to the very cute nickname that he's been given? So is he using it when it's necessary? And if so, then he's got a lot more problems than just asthma. Or is he using it as a mask or as a cover for something else that's going on that he shouldn't be doing? I tend to think it's the latter. Lastly, anybody know why Froome or Team Sky or somebody hasn't published his list of historical TUEs for his asthma as he jumped from one team to the next throughout his pro career? Yeah, I don't know either. And lastly, and I think most importantly, the story around what caused the salbutamol adverse analytical finding, AAF, we need to understand that the story has changed massively over time. So I listed out just the changes that I'm aware of. Maybe there's even more out there that other people have heard or read, but I'm not really sure after reading this long list why anybody should believe anything that comes out of the Froome Team Sky camp about this. So first of all, I don't use it in races. Clearly he did. Secondly, I took double the number of puffs that I normally do under doctor's orders I took a few puffs at the end of the stage on my way to post-race interview so that I didn't look weak, I was really dehydrated. Functional dehydration is something that Sky supposedly trained, so that shouldn't be an issue. Plus, it was a pretty mild day. Next, it was a weird metabolic anomaly. And then lastly, and most recently, kidney malfunction. And the funny thing there is the twofold. One, and others have pointed this out, the kidney isn't a storing vessel, it's a filter. So it's not like it's going to pull in all this salbutamol and then just fire it off all at once. And if it did do that, what other bodily functions are we going to see a similar effect during that test? Like whoever has to look at that test, the A sample and the B sample, and say, what else is off the charts in terms of kidney regulation if in fact this is what caused the salbutamol positive? And then I just heard another one actually right before I started this video. All this training Froome is now doing and publicizing in South Africa, somebody pontificated that it's got to be associated with, them trying to replicate the conditions of, what happened in the Vuelta. And they're probably failing miserably, which is why they're now doing this kidney malfunction defense. We'll see. In any case, this thing is getting beaten worse than a dead horse, but I keep getting asked about it, so I got to think it's still on people's minds as they're trying to process what the hell is going on. So I thought I would share my most recent thoughts on the subject. As always, happy training. Feel free to leave your comments and questions below, and we'll talk soon.